pretty crazy.
Hmm.
But you've adapted and done some stuff online. You tell us a little bit about your virtual show that you're doing with Brad?
Yeah. Fairly early on, we decided that this may not be over as quickly as we'd all like. So rather than just sit around and complain about it, which is so easy to do, and don't get me wrong, I love doing that.
Yeah.
We decided we would try to do our tour virtually. So the people who book us, they got their tech team together. They sent us green screen, lights, um, various other things, and we spent like 2 weeks just going through the technical aspects of it. Then we did a couple of dry runs, like for friends and family. And it was during that time we realized really quickly that we couldn't just do our stage show in this arena.
Yeah.
Because it becomes a screen, everyone's attention span is immediately shortened. So we couldn't take time just, fooling around with the audience, talking with them, exploring the scene for like 20 minutes. So we decided to do more like an improv sketch show where the scenes are short and snappy. We have little, like really almost blackouts in between some scenes. We're still able to interact with the audience, which is great. We can actually go into their living room and talk to them. I don't understand any of the technology. It's cool, but I'm starting to trust it more. So the first couple of shows was basically us just trying to get through it. And now we're at the point where we're actually having fun doing the improv. The tech stuff is sort of second nature to us now.
What do you feel like translated well? Like what is the exact same from live to virtual?
I mean, the verbal games, like an expert
Yeah.
scene or whatever, it still kind of works. And it's also great having the technology where we can all of a sudden add a background.
Yeah.
We also have audience members send in like holiday pictures before the show, and we do kind of a travel show, and then those pictures come up and we see them for the first time when they come up. So that's fun. We found the physical games. I'm trying to think. We don't do any because it's really hard to do. I mean, we're working in a space that's 6 feet by 3, so there's
Yeah.
not a lot of room. So we try to find ways of having a physical aspect without us actually doing it, and we sort of do it with puppet bodies, where we attach these puppet bodies to our head, and we can be really physical with them, but we're sitting down. I have to say, this is the best part of it. I'm doing entire shows sitting down,
Yeah.
so that is great.
You don't have to travel. You get snacks right next to you. It's
Yeah, I'm in the basement. I go upstairs, say hi to my wife, come back down. The other weird thing is not hearing a response, which Brad is used to. But for me, a little more. You realize how. I mean, how important the audience is to the show. They're supplying all the information, but also they dictate your pace, and there's a feeling out thing of, oh, they like this kind of comedy more than this,
oh,
so let's go this way. And so that's been interesting, having to, in a way, go blindly and have blind faith that what you're doing is funny.
do you think is there a chance after you're able to go back on tour and travel that you'll still do more virtual stuff, or do you think that once you can go live, it'll all fade away?
Yeah, I think once we're able to go live safely for everyone, I think that's the way we'll go. But this is great for corporates. Also, I think there's some elements we can actually incorporate into our live show, which will kind of be the next step for us. So it'll probably be a hybrid of the two.
And lastly, then I'll get to other folks, but I'm always fascinated by improv duos. So what was it? What's the magic between you and Brad that made you want to work with him so closely?
He asked me and I said, yeah. And that was it, basically. I mean, I've known Brad 30 years now. And We had worked together a lot. He's a Second City guy, like I am. And when I was living in Los Angeles, there was a space in Santa Monica where all the Second City alumni would get together and do shows. And that's where I really got to know Brad. And then when we started doing Whose Line together, that worked out. And we started to, Drew would take us every year to Vegas to do shows there on Super Bowl weekend. And although it was great, a lot of fun, there was like 12 of us. So you never really got a chance to warm up or actually get in there. Yeah. So Brad had been experimenting with 2-person shows and said, hey, you want to try us going on tour? So we had a sort of a trial run of a week. It went well. And now 18 years later, it's still going.
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, good. I got the DVD. I'll prove it to you later, but that's phenomenal work that you guys are doing. I want to go now to Joanne, if I can find here, and give her a chance to ask a question. So hopefully
here I am.
Here. Are you there? Are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, well, take it away.
Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. This is wonderful. We are such huge fans of yours. My whole family, my husband, my daughter's going to be so jealous when she finds out that we talked to you.
That's your husband behind you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I wasn't sure if you had a speaking part or not.
I usually don't.
After over 30 years, yeah, he does. Actually, I've been taking improv as a strict amateur for the last 2 years with a wonderful group in Melbourne, Florida.
Oh, great.
And, oh, I love it. I'm having such a good time, and our teacher is absolutely wonderful.
Oh, that makes a big difference. Yeah, great.
Yes, yes. And actually, we've been adapting very well to the Zoom format.
Oh, good.
Over the last several months, it's been a challenge. Anyway, my question for you is, I want to know what some of the challenges have been for you having chosen a career in improv.
Yes. Well, my first challenge was when I was starting out, it wasn't a career. Nobody really knew what improv was. It had just started. The improv I got involved with was a thing called theater sports, which is improv in sort of a fake sports setting where there was a referee who would issue challenges. Then there were 2 teams. Each team would do a scene and then we'd get judged. And this had been developed by an Englishman living in Calgary. And so when I first saw that was 1980. He just started doing it. So it was just a fun thing for me. I was a struggling actor, but every Friday and Saturday night, I knew I would be doing improv. It started with us pulling people out of the McDonald's next to the theater because nobody knew what improv was. We'd say, come see our show. They'd say, what is it? We said, well, we don't have it yet. You have to shout things at us and then we'll make it up in front of you. And it went from that to being the big cult show with lineups around the block. We started doing our own productions. And still, that led up to kind of 1986. I was in Vancouver. And it was still, it was still fun to do, but it wasn't my job. We were, making enough money to get maybe beer and 1 meal a week. And it really wasn't until Whose Line Whose Line gave me the opportunity to make this a career. It gave everyone on the show a profile. It gave us a chance to be able to tour all around the world doing the show. I'm very grateful for that show, as I think everybody on the show is, for giving us this chance to make a living at a job that didn't exist when I was a kid.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're certainly glad you do. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. No, you have to stay here now for the entire show, apparently.
Well, then do something.
There we go.
Somebody else needs his turn. Thank you again.
Thank you. Lovely meeting you. It's always awkward when you say goodbye and then, well, no, I'm just going to walk this way with you for a little while longer.
Okay.
Wow. Hi. Yeah. Hi, sir. I'm a huge fan. So this is a huge moment for me right now. Just talking to you. have grown up watching you and idolized you my entire life.
Oh, thank
And yeah, and one of the biggest reasons I'm an improviser here in Mumbai, India, it's because of you, sir. So I've been trying improv for quite some time, and I'm stammering because I'm shivering right now just talking to you.
I
So
have
please,
this effect on everyone. Don't worry about it.
completely understandable. So my question to you, sir, is that I want to turn pro and do improv my whole life, and I want to quit everything else that I'm doing. Please tell me just one career advice that you would like to give me, sir.
Okay, I'm feeling pressure. I think it's great that you are going to concentrate on this, and because if you are going to make it a career, it does take some sacrifice. Make sure that you have a bit of a safety net, financially. My thing is always, just always do it. It is a muscle that very quickly shrivels up. I found if I haven't improvised for a while, you lose your confidence a little bit. And you feel, I've worked, Catherine O'Hara did Whose Line? And she was one of my idols, and I still is a lovely woman. And she was almost sick about doing the show. I said, why? She said, well, I haven't done it in so long. And she is probably still one of the premier improvisers in the world. But because she hadn't done it for a while, the fear sets in. So get rid of that. I always try to work with people who are better than me, because it gives you that incentive to sort of keep up, but also you learn so much from watching people. Like one of the biggest lessons I learned on stage was how to use silence. There are times when you're on stage and if everything is quiet, you start to panic instead of owning that space and owning that silence. Silence can be just as funny, sometimes even more funny than words. And, work with people you also like and enjoy. That's, part of this is having fun and loving what you're doing. And there's going to be times where, it's hard because that's the business side of it. You can't always be successful, and don't fear the bombing, because I wish I could say I've never had a bad moment on stage. I've had people boo me. I've had incredibly horrible times, but I'm at the point now where I have fun with that. There's a thing called embracing the bomb, where you just go, yeah, okay, yeah, I think everybody can acknowledge I just sucked for the last 5 minutes. Let's use that as a learning experience and move on to the next thing. Nothing is ever as bad as it seems. I hope that helps in some way. I wish you a lot of success and good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely meeting you.
It's an honor meeting you, sir. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. It's 3:45 where Assad is right now.
Oh my God.
In the morning.
That's hard. Get some sleep.
Dedication.
No.
I've actually done improv in Mumbai. Brad and I went over there for, I think, a four-city tour and just had such a great time. So we were so nervous in a way because we thought, even though everyone will be speaking English, the reference level is going to be different, and will they get our references? And our first suggestion, we got fart. So immediately we went, okay, we're home.
Not that different. Hi, I'm Nina. Nice to meet you.
Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say, huge fan like the last gentleman. Actually, the biggest thing that you and Ryan and Wayne Brady, you guys all played a big role in the peace in my household, because me and my dad could never agree on like stuff to watch ever. But one was always the Food Network, and two was always Whose Line Is It Anyway? And so, and that was like our thing. And we still to this day, once in a while, we'll like on old episodes and watch Whose Line Is It Anyway? So
Oh, that's great.
thank you for that.
Anytime.
And so I have been doing improv for about 2 years now, and it's really made a huge positive impact in my life, in terms of like actually having the confidence to um, pursue a career in comedic acting. And met a wonderful improv community here. And that's again inspired by y'all. My question for you is, when you look back and think about the improvisers that you enjoyed working with the most, what are some qualities that they have that make them enjoyable to work with? So in terms of like, if I want to be a good scene partner, like what are things that I should focus on?
Great question. I think all the, I'm trying to think of the people I enjoy. Ryan,
You don't have to name them. We don't have to like get you in any trouble.
I mean, Ryan is someone who we've known each other for over 40 years now, and we've worked together a lot. And from the very beginning, the thing I loved about working with him was just the sense of fun, the enjoyment. He would always, yeah, make sure I was having a good time in the scene, and incredibly generous. I mean, I hate saying nice things about him, but he would get as much enjoyment setting you up for a joke and having you get the joke as he did getting the laugh himself. And that's rare. I've met a couple of people. The guys on Whose Line are pretty good. Everyone is like really supportive, and that's really what you need. You feel safe, and you immediately trust everyone that they're going to have your back, and they're there to make sure you're having a good time. And I hate to use the word competition
Yeah.
because it has such a negative connotation, but there, you know, of course, everybody wants to be the funniest. But there's also, like Ryan setting up, you also want to be like the best team player. You want to make the scene the best way it can. And sometimes, for me, the hardest lesson for me ever to learn was I could leave a scene and the scene would not be destroyed. And in fact, sometimes it would go off to greater heights. There were times, learning the time to come into a scene and when to leave a scene. Those are the hardest things to do, because especially if a scene is going great, you kind of want to go in there and join, but you go, no, if I go in, that's just, it's not going to help. It's going to actually hinder the scene. Right. So I've been very fortunate. I've worked with a lot of people who knew that instinctively and who are great. I mean, Ryan, I would say, is Ryan and Brad are probably two of the top that I've worked with consistently. But there was a guy in England called Jim Sweeney, who is just the loveliest guy. And again, could do everything, could sing, he has MS now. And the last time I worked with him, he was in a wheelchair. He blew everyone on stage away because he was still the funniest. And he wasn't above using his wheelchair to get pity laughs.
Yeah.
And jumped on it. And there was something, he's one of those people that you immediately love when you see on stage. But again, also very generous, an incredible sense of fun, broke more than anybody else I've ever worked with. And he didn't care because he was having a great time, and it became infectious, which is a horrible word to use at these times. But at that point, the whole audience, just because everybody was in on the joke. So he was generous that way to the audience too. But yeah, generosity and a sense of fun are I think the two common things.
Okay. And did you guys like do anything at the beginning before a show to like build that sort of bond between you?
No.
Okay.
I mean, it was very fortunate that the first time I worked with Ryan, it was just immediate. We just, for whatever reason, we just meshed together beautifully. And it was a really give and take relationship. And then, of course, we became really good friends. And the closer you come to a person in a personal way, it really comes out, I think, a lot more on stage. It gives you more shades to play with.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And now I'll awkwardly stare at you.
Hmm.
Bye.
Hi.
Hi, Colin. I am calling in. I'm Velvet. I'm in from Toronto. So I recognize the Bad Dog T-shirt immediately.
You've seen the big wins?
Mhm.
Oh, it's insane.
Yeah, I keep looking over my shoulder to see when the tree will come and join me on stage.
Yeah.
We have been blessed because you've often joined us on the various stages here in Toronto. So thank you for that generosity of spirit and joy. My question is that, especially now that we're digital and we have access to so many people and points of view, how do you keep track of the current pop culture or any other references that might come in? I know you'd mentioned traveling to other places and art being the first thing, but like I want to play with people who are younger than I am and get what they're talking about, and yes, there are times when I can choose not to enter. But in a group game or something, how do you keep up on top of all of the offers?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I have to work with younger people just by choice because there is no one older. So, I mean, there are some areas that I've just never kept up because when it comes to music, I'm totally ignorant. I stop. I think Alanis Morissette was the last time I listened to something at the time it was coming out. But that's what Brad's for. When I'm working with Brad, he has all that musical because he does so much musical improv. He kind of has to keep up. I mean, I try to keep up with things that I think we're going to be getting for suggestions. Like I've not seen a Real Housewives of Anywhere, but I have the gist of it. And I've sort of, I sort of read up and I go, oh, same with the Kardashians or whatever is in the public consciousness. I try to see what's going on and is it something I can use? And most of the time it's just throwaway jokes. If I ever had to do an in-depth scene as a Real Housewife, I could be in trouble. I might be able to talk my way through. And also, the thing I love about improv is you don't always have to know everything because when you're in the scene, you're the boss. So what I'm saying is true and right. It may differ from what you think you know,
Right.
but no, I'm absolutely right that Kanye is an expert tennis player who also invented Velcro. That is true, and I can prove it. So I do try to keep up with, television shows and movies are fairly easy. But going through social media, trying to keep up with that stuff, often I'm using the Urban Dictionary on Google to figure out things. So I do spend a lot of time on screens trying to keep up. But it's like everything else in your life, it sort of goes to the back of your mind and is there to pop out when you least expect it. Go, oh, I forgot I knew that. And especially, I mean, a lot of times I have to be careful because there are times I make references from things that, from my childhood that nobody has an idea about except for Brad. And he will always call me on it. But sometimes it's nice it's not quite history, but it's my history.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for giving that perspective. I love especially the idea that in that moment you are the boss of the reality.
Yeah.
And
I once, I was doing a scene in England at the Comedy Store with the Comedy Store players who are all great and lovely people. And I was working with Steve Frost, who is an animal. He's a lovely man, but he just constantly wants to make sure you're in trouble. So the scene was, it was going to be a musical, and they asked from the audience, can we have an event? And someone said the abdication of Charles II. And Stephen went, oh yeah, when he gave that incredible speech, Colin, you're Charles II. So I knew nothing about it. So I started doing I Have a Dream. And for that moment, yeah, that was true. That's how Charles II abdicated. So I love having, I love being put in the spot and then somehow finding a way out of it.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, Colin Mochrie.
Hello, Kylie.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, having a really, really great morning, evening. Very, very great to see you.
Where are you?
I'm in South Africa, in Cape Town.
I thought I detected a bit of an accent.
Oh, yeah. You too.
Oh, yeah.
American, right? Okay.
Canadian. Oh, I can't even believe
Oh, my. Oh,
It'd be
well,
like if I
close
said you
enough.
were Australian.
Well, with a name like Kylie, who would be
Yes.
wrong?
Yeah,
So-
true.
So I wanted to ask you, how do you get out of your head on stage, especially if you've had a bad show the night before, something like that, and you kind of go on stage and you're like, yes, I want to be funny, but obviously you go on stage, it's like, don't think, don't plan, because it's improv, right? But how do you get out of your head when you're on stage? People are waiting. What do you do?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm fortunate in that I have been doing this for a long time. I was just
Right.
thinking, yeah, like 40 years. So now it's just second nature for me to be backstage like 5 minutes before the show and just go, okay, and just go on stage with nothing, and loving that and feeling confident that somehow that's all going to work out. Certainly early on, you do have sometimes a bad scene would ruin the rest of my night. But now it's the beauty of improv is you have so many new beginnings. Yes, that scene sucked, but you know what? You will not remember that because you will remember this scene I'm about to do with someone and I may take a little step back a little bit just to sort of get my feel for the night back again, maybe build up my confidence. I may support a little bit until I feel, okay, oh yeah, everything's fine. I can take over this, or not take over, but I can lead the next scene or whatever. It is, getting out of your head is like the perfect phrase, because every problem you ever have as an improviser is in your head. It has to be where you truly trust yourself and you trust the people you work with to just do it. And you're just reacting, you're doing the yes and you are accepting and you're building. And yeah, it doesn't always work. Yeah, so what? Nothing in life always works. But people get through it because you've got to. And this is such a fun thing that there's really no reason you should be in knots about it. Don't get down on yourself. Have fun. Try to make I find if I have, especially having a little bit of trouble, I spend my time trying to make the other person have fun, and maybe even try to break them up, or just something to give me my focus back.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for being alive. It's
Oh,
really,
thank
really
you.
good to meet you. Yeah,
You got me at a good time.
me too. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Hello, sir. I am Jayant. I'm Jayant Chopra from New Delhi, India.
Hello.
I watched Whose Line Is It Anyway when I was in school, but when I tell people about it, they kind of didn't understand. They some watched, but some didn't watch, and mostly didn't watch the Whose Line Is It Anyway. But I got attracted to it. My drama teacher introduced me to improv for just remembering the lines. If you forget your line, then you just need to improvise. After that, I got stuck with improvise. my question I'm sorry. I'm just like that awkwardly.
No, believe me. When you meet me in real life, you won't find anyone more awkward than this.
My question is how it's similar to Kylie. How to be stupid and carefree in improv, because the real improv starts after the scene gets over. My mind starts telling me that this should have been done. You did the opposite. So that's
Yeah. I love how you phrase that. How do you be stupid and carefree? Because I think that's that's pretty it. I mean, a lot of it is, as I said, the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and in a sense, you don't care as much. Not everything is a life and death situation. It's the fun, and you have to go through ups and downs until you get to that point where it's like, okay, this isn't, at the end of the show, no one's going to be dead. So that is a good thing. But we can just have fun. And I know it's hard to put in your mind, okay, I'm just going to have fun. I'm just going to have fun, because that isn't good either. It's just make sure you're always in a good environment. You're with people that you love and trust, and give yourself a little project every show. There are some nights I think before a show, you know what, tonight I'm just going to try and do different characters, and maybe I'll do different characters based on my family members, because I know them really well and I know what's funny about them and I can use that. And then sometimes I think, you know what, I'm really going to spend time propping up Brad and making him look good, not for the whole show, because who wants that? But you have these little projects that sort of keep you invested and keep you focused. And after a while, it just becomes second nature. I never, on stage, is the best that I am as a person in a social environment. I'm actually quite shy. I don't feel comfortable in groups, except, with friends, and even then. But when I go in front of an audience of people who have spent money to see a show that I don't have, that is when I'm my most confident. That's when I'm most excited about what is going to happen, that we're all going to go through this together, and that this is the only show. These people will never see the show again. Nobody else will ever see the show again. It's for this night only. We'll never do it again. You'll never see this again. It will never be seen anywhere. We're all part of a special thing. This is the night where, from absolutely nothing, we're going to have a lot of fun. So let's just try to relax. I'm going all over the place. I'm sorry, because I'm slightly insane. One of the important things I learned was building a relationship with the audience. So take time at the beginning of a show, sort of getting them on your side, being charming, and, it doesn't have to be ha-ha laughs, but, that helps. But charm can go a long way. And when you feel that rooting from an audience, it really perks you up, and really you have a relationship with them, and you think, oh, you know what, I don't want to disappoint these guys, because I like them and they really like me, and that's a good thing. So I hope all this randomness has helped in some way.
It has, sir. It totally did. I building relationships. It's registered now. Your answer is registered in my mind. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Colin, how you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
I'm all right.
All right.
My question for you is, when you first got into improv and comedy, who were some of your inspirations? Like, who did you look up to? Who were just people that you were just like, man, I want to be like that guy? Like, or who are your heroes?
Well, oh God, there are so many. I mean, in an improv sense, Jonathan Winters, only because he was the only person doing it. When I first saw him, I thought he doesn't have an act. He's just being funny, saying things off the top of his head. And then Robin Williams. So both those guys were, I think, strong inspirations for me. The cast of SCTV, all of them, and I've been really lucky in that I've managed to become friends with some of them and worked with them. And I got a chance to do a show with them and watch them close up, which was amazing. It was like joining the Beatles for a second. It was great. And anyone who ever made me laugh, I think I would subconsciously kind of study them. Like when I was growing up, I watched a lot of television, and it was always sort of the second bananas who I liked, like Don Knotts and Tim Conway, people like that. And the Monty Python, John Cleese was kind of someone I think I stole some stuff from. But if there was anyone who made me laugh, I would, because laughing, getting someone to laugh is really hard. Getting a group of people to laugh at one thing it's insane, because everybody's has such a definite sense of humor of what makes them laugh. It's hard to find that one thing. So if someone made me laugh, I would think, oh, okay, that's pretty special, because I don't laugh at a lot of things. And so I would sort of watch it, go, all right, why did I laugh at that? And then immediately you stop laughing for the rest of your life. But I did learn a lot about, a lot of the people that really made me laugh were the ones who had a sense of truth in them. No matter how insane it was, there was still something there. You go, yeah, I'm buying this. I'm totally buying this, that this could happen, that this person could exist somewhere. So those were the kind of guys I was drawn to, and women.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Now I'm going to awkwardly stare at
I know
you.
this is the part that's always a little, I feel I should have a bit now at the end. So
Edit.
Hello, Mr. Colin.
Hello.
Hi, my name is George, and I'm from the Philippines.
Hi, George.
And I want to say that,
Set.
oh, thank you. This is an homage to you and your show. You and your show is very impactful. It's synonymous to the word improv. So my question for you, by the way, I'm just sharing space with you. It feels so surreal. I'm having goosebumps.
Yeah, me too.
My question is, how do you envision the future of improv after this pandemic is over? And I have a follow-up question. This is a very personal and controversial question. In performing via Zoom, do you wear pants or shorts?
Good questions. Both of them very hard hitting. Yeah, I think once we get back to being safe, audience-wise and performer-wise, whether that's a vaccine, and I think that is when it's going to happen. So it may be a little off in the future. And then I think things will kind of go back to the way it was. What I love about improv is it's always changing, like from short form to long form to different kinds of one improvised one act plays, improvised Dungeons and Dragons. People, this is an art form that people can be so creative with. And as you can see from the Zoom performances, so it'll be interesting to see what comes out of this, what pandemic inspired improv styles will come out. I'm sure there won't be, the show's just dealing with COVID, because who wants that? But I think a lot of people have been being very creative with the way they can do improv, and that usually leads to a different way of doing it in a different style, a different genre. So yeah, I think improv will flourish like it always does. I mean, the beauty of it is you can do it anywhere. It's so easy to do it on a screen. And to your second question, I do wear pants, but not underwear.
Thank you very much, Mr. Colin.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, okay, I'm on. Yay.
Hi.
No, I'm words. I have them. I just wanted to take a moment to kind of, my name's Elena. I just wanted to take a moment to just say how much I appreciated Whose Line growing up as a kid, because I really do believe that that show like completely changed my life, because I didn't know you could just go up and do that. So thank you for that. Now, sappy stuff aside, how do you create an instant character just using this Zoom frame? Because that is what our theater has been doing, is we've been going on to Zoom, but it's really hard for a lot of us to get into a character when you don't have the buy-in of the audience because you can't see them. And if you've always started your characters very physical and now you're kind of resorted to this space, like how do you go about that?
This is going to sound just so stupid. We're different kinds of headwear. Because as I say, we don't have a lot of space, with all the technical equipment. So, but I have like 7 or 8 hats, which I use for different characters. And then things like this, which I don't even know. We use a lot of green screen stuff, so it kind of looks like it's floating. So it can become a character that you're not actually involved with. We've been using the technology, like the green screen technology more. I do a character where it's just my head, where I answer questions. So we found a way to get the technology to help us use the characters. But then sort of that Second City background of, as you're walking on stage, you grab a hat, put it on, and all of a sudden you have a character. So I would say I have a little, set piece, a little crown, which I also have. So, wow. But yeah, things like that will at least give you something, because you're right, having the physical part cut off. I mean, a lot of times that can be your entire character and sort of reinforce who they are. So yeah, funny hats.
Funny hats. Perfect. Wouldn't have thought of it myself, so that's great.
Also, here's another thing, pieces of black tape that you can use for mustaches or sideburns or big eyebrows.
Nice. So you're just kind of taking things that you have around you and using it. Yeah, I thought of it.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'll just awkwardly stare too.
All right. Thank you for the kind words earlier. One of the things I'm really proudest about Whose Line was that it inspired people like you, and it was a thing families watched together, which was kind of cool, even though probably some of the stuff maybe they shouldn't have, but still, it was a family experience. And I've had so many stories that have made me cry. People who have come up and said, my father just passed away. We watched the show the entire time. He was going through chemo and it just meant so much to us. And I mean, things like that are great for the ego, but it's also just nice to be, because, you just think, well, here's what I'm doing. I'm walking like a chicken in front of millions of people. How is that giving back to the world? But and especially in times like this, you realize how important that is, how important the arts is. It was kind of the first thing people turned to for comfort, watching their old sitcoms they grew up with, or watching some ballet, and it actually took me a long time to be proud of this. So I am proud, and I'm glad that it has reached people, and you seem lovely, so I'm glad it reached you.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it again.
Hi, Colin.
Hello.
I'm Nikki Manting, and
Hi.
I'm the artistic director for the Vintage Improv Festival, and I am streaming this broadcast onto our Facebook page, because we have a lot of vintage improvisers. And if you didn't know it, you are one because you're over 50, I presume.
Geez, yeah, I must be ultra vintage.
So I always ask people, and I would love for you, because I know they're going to be watching, is if you could give any advice for people that are over 50 that are doing improv, that you know, to make them feel like this is a good thing, they should keep on trying and reach out and reach for the stars.
Yeah, you know what? Just do it. You have a wealth of life behind you, something a lot of younger improvisers don't have. You have life experiences that you can pull from and draw from and make funny in a real way because it's something you've gone through, whether it's, you know, heartbreak or tragedy or just the goofy mundane things that sometimes we catch ourselves doing and laugh at. You know, it's there. Age really is, again, it's a mindset. I'm 62. And I admit there are times where I think, at what point is this going to just be embarrassing for the audience? 80 doing a dinosaur walking across. Is that, but what I love about improvising is the minute I'm on stage, I'm not a 62-year-old anymore. I'm still that young guy. The things that hurt in me for some reason for that show stop hurting until after I get off. I feel good. I feel, you just feel alive. And that goes through if the night goes poorly or it goes great, you feel, you just feel good. It's a good skill to have outside of the theater. It's a great skill, a life skill to have. My wife and I actually made a concerted effort to start using yes and in our real life. And we started doing things that we may have taken us out of our comfort zone. We went to the Congo with World Vision, and we were in abject poverty in the middle of the jungle. And it was one of the best experiences we ever had. We met these incredible people, and these people who have nothing and yet have this spirit and this joy and are trying to help each other out. So yeah, when you find using the yes and in real life, transferring it from the stage, it really is an amazing thing. And as I say, you have such a wealth of experience, things you can use, and also you could be an inspiration to these young folks who think that they will never get older.
No more of an inspiration than you. Thank you, Colin. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello. Oh, hello.
Hi, my name's Hannah. I'm calling from Liverpool in the UK.
Hi, Hannah.
Hi. I just want to say, like everyone else, I'm a really big fan. Weirdly, this is probably not weird, but I'm going to say it's weird and just embrace it. I used to watch Whose Line Is It Anyway when I was younger, and Whose Line actually gave me a voice, not just in drama and theatre and whatever, but actually gave me the opportunity to just say a good percentage of the things that come out of my mouth are going to be random, and I should just live with it and accept it. So I just want to kind of thank you and the Whose Line team for inspiring that. Probably with other people as well, but yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So my question for you is, when you were at Second City, I've known about Second City for a long time, and I've always wanted to go and never had the chance. Then obviously with the world that we live in, it's a bit like, oh no. But I have done online workshops with them and absolutely loved it. For you, when you were there, is there anything that you learned that has been of major importance to you that you've taken into your career and never forgot? And with that, do you have a improv mantra or a life motto that you live by that helps you through either improv or just everyday life?
Okay.
I tried to link the two together there.
No, it's very good.
Yeah, thanks.
At Second City, what I loved about Second City was it was kind of like a comedy college, because you would have the written show, and then the last half would be all improv. And so I got to improvise every night, which was great. And I learned a lot. And that's where I learned about talking to an audience, because I never felt easy doing it. And so in the improv set, between scenes, they would have someone come out and introduce the next scene, or basically sometimes just stall until a costume was fitted. So I started asking, if you guys need someone to go in between the scene, I will do it, because I wanted to get at ease with it. I mean, I was, Ryan and I were in the same company, and he could go out and he could talk to them for like half an hour. We act that, there's others here who have to do something. So I would watch him, and it was just all conversational. So I learned that I didn't have to try as hard talking to the audience. I just had to talk to them like a person. And I also learned about getting my ideas out there. I'm not very good in a group situation of jumping out front and saying, you know what, I think we should do this. And you had to do that in Second City to survive, because you had 6 strong personalities and performers who are getting their ideas out to do scenes. So I quickly learned, sitting back isn't helping me. I really have to push more. So I learned to be a little more assertive, a little more confident in my pitches. And improv mantra. My thing has always been, from the beginning, is make people want to be with you, whether it's in a working environment or whether it's in a personal life. In a working environment, I'm always trying, sometimes it's tough when I come in to do a night with an improv troupe, that they're a little intimidated. And so my job then is to show them that they really shouldn't be, and that they shouldn't be. The only thing that separates me from them is I got a television show that took advantage of the only thing I can do. It's my only skill. So I was incredibly lucky. And I hopefully, I think, every time I have worked, it's all worked out, because I do the improv things where I try to be generous and I try to give. And when it's a night with Colin Mochrie, I try to make it that it isn't. It's a night with however many improvisers are. We're all always working together. I've always been, it's fun. Oh God, I think I need therapy. I just thought, I'm not good with groups in life, but on stage I am, because everybody's working towards the same thing, and you kind of trust everyone. So I got to get that into my life.
I think you, by the sounds of it, you sound like you're doing it anyway.
I've been very lucky. I've also been surrounded by great people, not only in my life, but my improv life. And I guess this would be my main mantra. You never know everything. There's never a time as I'm walking on stage going, well, this will be easy as pie, because sometimes it is, a lot of times it isn't, and it can happen in the same evening. So it's just never taking anything for granted and always learning.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Lovely meeting you.
I won't stare at you awkwardly, don't worry.
Yes, you will. It's the thing. There you go.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi, Colin. I'm Siddharth.
Hello.
From Bangalore, India. And one request is, next time that you come here, have more than one show, because it just got sold out so quickly. I couldn't see you, but this is so great that this is happening.
Very popular. I'm sorry.
We just love you out here. So I have a question that I've written down, because otherwise I would blabber. So with this online thing that's happening with Zoom, Improv, and all this stuff, are you in any way surprised by the talent that is I mean, firstly, the spread of improv, all the places and the talent that is coming across, because few of really talented improvisers are right here in this Zoom call as well. And the follow-up to that is there anything that can be done to make it even more mainstream in other places of the world? Taking advantage of the Zoom prof.
Yeah. I mean, I've never been surprised by the talent I've seen all across. I mean, mostly it's been North America, but and Britain and Australia. I have every city, it seems, has an exceptional core of improvisers, and I think with the Zoom, I think figuring out the technology is the hardest part, and then also making it your friend. So it's not, I know I talked earlier, the first couple of shows I did with Brad, we had two computers. So we're kind of watching to see how we were in relation with each other. And then you sort of pop in going, oh yeah, we're improvising a scene. And now that's gone. It's like we're doing the scene and we're just naturally, so there's always a bit of a learning curve. And it also seems with improv, it seems to go up and down. There are times where it's just amazingly popular and everywhere, and then it sort of draws back for a little while. And I think this pandemic is going to actually probably bring it back to the forefront again. I don't know how, believe me, if I knew how to make it more mainstream and more popular, I mean, the growth I've seen from when I first started to now is immense. Like it seems everybody has an improv group everywhere, whereas it was so rare when I first started out. And it's one of those things. I think like anything else, the same with theater. It kind of sometimes wanes and then it comes back strong. Same with television. It goes through a golden age, then it kind of goes through a leaden age for a little while. So these things are kind of, living creatures. And I think it would be great at one point I think certainly now, when you talk to improv, when you say the word improv to people, they know what it is. Whereas when I was first starting out, I would say, I do improv. They go, oh, you're a stand-up. Like, no, I do improv. So just from that, we've come a long way where people actually understand what improv and know what it is. So it can only get better, I think, the more we do it.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How are you?
Hello.
I'm Denise, and I'm super new to improv, but thanks to COVID, I've been able to join in on this wonderful journey. My question is, what is one of or a couple of your things that, like when a game comes up that you're just like, oh, that's cringeworthy, or an audience suggestion that you're just like, no, not that again?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you've watched Hoedown, you know exactly that feeling we all get when we go, oh, Hoedown, 30 years of Hoedown. It's like, the mind boggles. But with us, it's like, we're actually contractually obligated to do it. So we have to do it. I'm trying to think, when Brad and I were touring, we would go through times where a game wasn't enjoyable to us. So we would just get rid of it and then kind of bring it back later. But if it's a game I really don't like, that's when I tend to sit back a little and make the other people be the star and support them and try to find a way to make it fun for myself. And with the suggestions, the most work I ever do in improv is trying to come up with a way to ask for a suggestion that you don't get something that you've heard 1,000 times before. So, Brad and I really work on it, and things, we'd come up with, what was your great grandmother's occupation, or something where people actually have to think for a second before they tell you. I had the best, someone told me a friend of theirs had this job. And it's one of those I thought, how could I frame the question so that I could get that some night on improv? He was an undercover agent for PETA. So he would go on hunting parties and pretend to be part of the, I'm not quite sure what he did, but he, I guess, just ratted out people who were cruel to animals. But I thought, that is a great, and that is something you would never get when you ask for something. So sometimes we come up with, oh, what would be the perfect thing? And then try to figure out, okay, how can I frame the question that I would get that sort of thing, whether it's combining two jobs or, but actually putting more thought into the ask fors so that the audience has to put more thought into what they give you.
Gotcha. Thank you. Thank you so much.
We're at time, but do you have time for one more, Colin?
Yeah, all right.
I mean, I kind of asked in front of everybody, but
yeah, you did. Well, that's all right.
All right, Ari.
Hey, Colin.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Ari. I'm calling in from Norway.
Hello, Norway.
Yes. So I want to ask you, because you're also an outspoken figure on this. I did improv since 10 years ago, and then if I see what I did before, there's a lot of very insensitive things that I did. Cultural insensitivities. For instance, we would have these games where you continue the scene in Japan, in India, in other Peru, and then you would go into the most stereotypical depictions of it. And if my current me was there, I would probably slap my wrist and say, like, police just don't go there. So I'm trying to get better at this now. But my question is, how much do you, as a player, are you to defend social justice, sort of? Because there's oftentimes I get something that didn't feel good for me in the scene, but I don't have the finesse to sort of work over it. And then after the show, I felt bad that I didn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, that is a tough one. Well, I'll give you an example. My daughter came out as trans, and I was posting about it on Twitter, and you know, it was the usual, very supportive with. But then I got this Facebook message from this person who runs a LGBTQ improv troupe in London, England. And he wrote, just want to say, congratulations. It's so nice to see you, so supportive of your daughter. Can I ask you one favor? When, can you take a hard look at the homophobic and transphobic jokes that you guys do on Whose Line? And immediately it was like, yes, yes, we do. And there are times where I'll see old shows and I'm just horrified by that person, who is me, doing something that could hurt an entire segment of the population. And so that is something I think we've all been careful about. And there have been slip-ups, and it's and I told this person, always call me out if I do it. If I do it, and this is no excuse, it's a panic thing where you think, oh, I gotta get a laugh here. But everyone has become more and more sensitive, I think, to those sort of things, which is why a lot of groups I work, there's a little kind of meeting before the show, and every improviser will say, talk about things like, you know, I'm fine if you kiss me on stage, but I don't want any hip grinding or anything really sexual. And some people say, you know, I have bad knees, so don't jump on me. And then some people say, let's keep an eye out on anything sexual or misogynist or homophobic. And usually in a scene, if you're asking for something, somebody gives you a suggestion that could obviously lead to that, there usually is a group consensus where we just go, no, and go somewhere else and sort of nip that in the bud. It gets dangerous when you're in the middle of the scene and happens, because you're at that fine line of, okay, you're entertaining, but also this is not a good thing, and it's setting up a bad precedent. So does that mean I call out my improviser friend here? And the answer is yes, but you have to find a way to do it in the scene where your character now is the person who is the arbiter of good taste, and call them on it. And yeah, do it as your character with your beliefs, and that way, you know, you at least at the end of the show you go, well, you know, I did what I felt good about. I did the right thing. And I find when people have made that kind of mistake, it really has been sort of an unconscious thing or a panic thing. And afterwards, I would say almost 100% of the time, they've said, thank you for getting me out of that. I didn't know what to do. And the more I panicked, the worse it would get. So keeping the lines of communication open with the troupe as to what you will accept and what you won't accept really helps.
Thanks so much, Colin.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ari, I'm glad we got to that question. Great topic. And Queen City Comedy has some diversity discussions and events coming up. You can follow us on Facebook and see some of those. And this is proof. This is, oh, you can't see this, but this is Colin and Brad.
Yeah.
And we'll put a link on this on our page as well. But your Stream of Consciousness shows have some open public tickets. So
yeah, they actually all do, I think. So
yeah.
You go to www.passportshows.com and they have our schedule, and it's wacky.
It's wacky. That should be the tagline. Stream of Consciousness. It's wacky. Can I get everybody to turn the cameras back on and come back and say thank you. We appreciate you taking the time to talk to us a little bit about improv. I really appreciate it. I'll give it up for Colin.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you all for joining again. Queen City Comedy, lots of classes and workshops and fun things coming up. So follow us on our Facebook page for more. All right. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Colin, sir.
Should we just stare awkwardly for a second? Or?
Yes.
Everybody just stare. Everybody do it.